Topic Podcast, all things Nintendo. Yeah!
Welcome to the Nintopic Podcast. We are here. It is time. It is the best day of the week. And we were happy to, put a period at the end of the week with you guys here at the Nintopic Podcast. And this amazing crew, starting with the beautiful Queen of Hyrule, a.k.a. Zelda's Mama. Joycey J, how are you? How are you doing? And, introduce yourself, tell people. And then another question I'm going to add on top of that. Give me your opinion about the previous direct on top of that.
Okay. Hey, guys, I am Joycey J, who is very tired. I have worked a 60-hour work week. I'm not crazy, I promise.
That's long.
But I did get some time to thankfully be able to watch the direct. I absolutely loved it. 3 words, 2 syllables. Contra. Contra.
Listen,
That's all I cared about. Everything.
You said it on Twitter. I didn't notice Contra until you said it on Twitter. I went back. I'm like, wait, what? And because it was provided by when they were doing like all the little montage of games.
Yes.
And I missed it. I missed that part. Like, oh, it looks so great too, right?
It's Contra. I don't really need anything else. Once you play the NES version, everything after that is, of course, graphics wise is superior. But I just remember playing that game, and it was the first game. As much as I love Zelda, y'all know I'm a Zelda girl, but it was the first game. I think it was the first game I actually beat by myself. My brother and I would play, and we had all the cheat codes and for all the extra lives and everything. And then I got so used to the levels that I was able to memorize certain things, and I was so proud of myself when I beat it myself as a kid. So Contra just has a very special place in my heart. In fact, I think this calls for a family visit to my brother so we can relive those very, very young memories.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's awesome. All right. So after we took a trip from Hyrule, we kind of flew over to Japan, and in Japan there's this big giant house with a big giant M next to it. It's not Mario, it's Miyamoto. Next to it, we saw another big house with the PG and next to it, and then very coincidentally, Miyamoto was mowing his lawn. I'm like, what is Miyamoto mowing this guy's lawn for? And all of a sudden, this guy comes out the door, and he has this big giant glass of lemonade and a pitcher, and it's Paul Guild Network. I'm like, of course it has to be Paul. And then Miyamoto mowing his lawn.
It's so hard to pick up Paul every week, guys. I get off work like right at 7, and then we got to go all the way to Japan and pick up Paul and come back.
I'll tell you, yeah, and he made it here. It's a sacrifice, but he was Miyamoto mowing his lawn there and just attending to his house. So, Paul, how are you doing?
Good. And you actually reminded me of something. I have to find out if I could. Well, I have to look if I could find the photo. One time, I let my lawn grow a little bit high, and it was during fall because there were a lot of leaves from my fig tree in the backyard, and I mowed my lawn in the shape of a big Triforce. And I purposely left the 3 triangles of the Triforce in separated section of leaves and high grass. And you just telling that story about Mr. Miyamoto and I made me think of that. But yeah.
Yeah, no, we have to see that. We have to see that picture.
Maybe
I need that in my life.
Yeah, we saw your Mario pool. Now we have to see your Triforce grass.
Mario lawn and the Triforce grass. Yeah, My week was good. I went to Super Nintendo World last Saturday for the 1-year anniversary of the park, and I picked up this bad boy. This is the gold power-up band, which will only be in my possession for another 12 hours because I'm going to ship this to Florida because this is Mike's request.
Aww.
And this is how it looks like compared to my Yoshi one that was given to me from Nintendo.
So
And
in the back, I have the full collection back there. I have all the power up bands
and my Mario one.
Yeah, and then that's the one I needed. I need that one. And so
Mario I purchased on my own, and then the Yoshi one was a gift from Media Day when I went. But yeah, this gold power up band was a part of their 1-year anniversary celebration. I went to the park on Saturday, and I also went to the opening of the Power Up Cafe. So if you want to see any of that footage, that's on my channel. The Power Up Cafe grand opening. I don't want to spoil it because in case you watch it, it is kind of funny because something unexpected happened while I was doing my, hey, this is Polygale Network and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the park is still cool. I did a little overview of what is it like a year later, kind of my, synopsis on, is it holding up? Is it still fun, entertaining? What are other people looking like? What's the new food? Yeah, that was it. Also new in my corner is the Sora Amiibo.
Nice.
Awesome.
Complete the collection. As you can see, I have all of my Amiibo here and back there, and what you can't see is in my living room around my entertainment center are the other ones. These are my 2 third-party shelves, so Sora will go on the third-party shelves. They're like that for a reason. Look at my bad guy shelf, and I just
look at this tray, Paul. You got Amiibos in your entertainment center in the living room.
Yeah, so the living room setup.
All right. Just with that, wife of the year, prize wife of the year.
The living room setup is,
good.
It's very much me, but it also is family centric. Which is kind of Nintendo and family in one because Nintendo is my family.
There you go. See, already family of the year. I have to get a price and get it over there because if I put one of these over there, honey, come get your toys. I'm like, what? That's not a toy. That's a display.
It's an action figure.
Later today, or maybe even during the stream, if I could find a photo, I'll share a photo of like, what does my entertainment center look like? Because it's not overdone, but it's elegant. This is art.
We've had you on the podcast from your phone, so you can actually do that again. Just kind of give us a tour.
Give a little tour.
Yeah.
And then what was the other question? What did I think of the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase? There were like 26-ish games, a little over 24, I think. And, I think we live in a different time now where now we have more and more reliable leakers. But if you didn't go into the show knowing that they're going to have something that's probably dolphin related, which is Endless Ocean, that was a legitimate surprise. If you take that out of your mind and just go into it like, whoa, Endless Ocean, Luminous, this is a game in a series that I haven't seen in a long time. And then if you didn't hear about these rumblings or Microsoft didn't talk ahead of time about, games going to partner systems and you got grounded. And if you're an old school gamer, well, maybe not old school, but you grew up playing titles for a long time and you experienced Wii and WiiWare. And even though World of Goo was originally shown, or World of Goo 2 was shown, not too long ago, but now learning like, Nintendo Switch console exclusive, so meaning it'll be on PC and Nintendo Switch. Like that was cool. And Epic Mickey Rebrush was also cool. And like Monster Hunter Stories coming ported over. And then Contra, which has a demo out right now, by the way, on eShop. So check that out.
Yes, check it out.
Like, there were quite a few games from several genres, Big Penny's Breakaway, South Park Snow Days. Some of these we've known about getting updates to, and some were just brand new. And a lot of it was first half of the year, some later in the year. I don't want to take too much time because, Zach needs to talk his behalf, but I was very pleased with the partner showcase. There's plenty of opportunities for Nintendo to, have their own first party lineup, and we'll talk more on the show, I'm sure. But yeah,
I did not know that. I didn't know that the Ocean game was a third party game.
What was that?
The Ocean something. What was it?
Endless Ocean.
I didn't know that was a first party game.
So a Nintendo published title.
Yeah, it's in it. When I want to see the update if anything was updated on press.nintendo.com where they have their list for the year, and basically all that shows up there are only Nintendo first party games. That game is up there now for May.
The
For
old one,
start of May.
Nintendo published and Arika developed.
Okay.
So that's a Nintendo IP.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Not developed by them.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what I meant. A Nintendo IP, like they only, yeah. So I didn't know it was Nintendo IP until I saw it. It's published there from for the slot of May. So at least we have May out now. We have April, and then we have June. Hopefully, one of these months can be one for Paper Mario, the other one for Luigi's Mansion, and then we have the first 6 months of the year covered up. Hopefully we get that soon. But we'll talk about that more later on. And so after I left Japan. After I left Japan, I was
after we picked up Paul.
I mean, they have the best food over there. I picked up Paul. Paul came over, and Miyamoto wanted to come, but he stayed behind. He had things to do. And so
he had to clean Paul's pool.
I took a drive over to from California, went all the straight up to Washington, and I went into this arena where there's a whole bunch of people there that just chanting names and screaming and everything. And I saw like a ring in the center, and there's two people fighting, but they weren't really fighting. They were fighting with controllers. And then all of a sudden, this other guy just won the entire championship, and he goes, "Adrian, I did it!" And Adrian, and it happened to be Zach. They call it Zach the Champ. So, hey,
we picked him up out of the movie theater from watching the Rocky movies, and now we're here.
I know, and so I'm like, "Hey, Zach, can you come to the podcast today?" So we got Zach the Champ here.
Yeah, it was an interesting trip, especially too, like going all the way to Washington and then back home was a really long drive for me. But yeah, I am happy to be here. I'm happy to actually be here and not just be a photo. So that is cool. But yeah, this partner showcase, there are 3 big takeaways for me, which is Epic Mickey rebrushed, because I remember getting Epic Mickey for the Wii. And I remember getting the special nunchuck that was the paintbrush and plugging that nunchuck into my Tron Wii remote. So then they both were glowing blue. And I was just like, this is the ultimate setup. And then so that game was just that had a special place in my heart. And then I am always a big fan of more Super Monkey Ball. So I'm very, very, very excited about the newest Super Monkey Ball coming out. However, one thing that I am missing a little bit is Mother 3, because they got that in Japan in their partner showcase, and we didn't. And so I had to catch up on the showcase afterwards. I wasn't able to watch it live because I was working.
Yeah.
And so I just see Mother 3 in the thumbnail of the article. I click and I'm like, yes, we have Mother 3 localized. And then like I go to the article, I'm scrolling through. I'm like, oh, we don't have Mother 3. And my heart just kind of broke into a million pieces all over again for this game, like it always does every time we don't get it. I liked Reggie tweeted. He retweeted somebody's tweet about it and was just like, "Oh, so nice for this to not be my problem."
Well, I think eventually Mother will make its way over to the States, right? It
has to, especially when Paul puts a good word in with Miyamoto.
At least there's some signs of life with Mother 3, right? It appeared somewhere, so at least hopefully, right? It doesn't the game has not been translated to English yet, right? It's just in Japanese.
Yeah, it hasn't been officially localized.
Oh, and why is that though? It's not a new game.
I don't know. We gotta ask Paul to ask Miyamoto for us.
Yeah, what do you think, Paul?
Nintendo, for some reason, hasn't wanted to or deemed it financially beneficial or too big of an audience to make it worth the time to get the text localization, to put it in there and recode it, make it accurate, make the humor fit and stuff like that for this kind of niche title that isn't the giant big selling game, and put the effort into US.
Somebody's gonna do it.
and Western, other English-speaking countries. But
yeah,
they've made so much money this generation, though, that you could make the argument that they're not in a point where everything they put out has to be a banger.
Mm-hmm.
But they also don't want to have anything they put out be a loss.
Mm-hmm.
But it does give them a little bit of wiggle room. Like, you know what? This could take this much, and it could break even, and that could be okay. Or it could lose a little because it wouldn't cost too much and be fine. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but
yeah.
I could see it happening eventually, but it's definitely not on their priority list at all.
Yeah,
because it would have happened on any number of platforms between when it came out and now. Unless if there is something more grand behind the scenes, like that's kind of wishful thinking. I think don't expect this big HD remake. Kind of like
Mother 3.5 coming soon.
We'll see.
To a theater.
I want Zach to follow me around and narrate my life.
Like to a theater near you.
And she played Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom once again.
Mama, where are you?
If I was following you around narrating your life, I could just record the same sound bites of you playing Tears of the Kingdom.
Or A Link to the Past.
Link to the Past, yeah.
I mean,
Link to the Past remake. I'm waiting for that remake. All right, so I enjoyed the partner showcase. I think it was a really solid one for a partner showcase because you really can't compare a partner showcase to a full Nintendo Direct or to an indie showcase, right? You can't compare them. They each have their genre of games and level of games in each side, right? Like a partner showcase, I've been telling my followers that it's partners, like bigger partners, right? So like Sega, Microsoft, all these big giant game companies. The other one, what's it called? The indie showcase? Is that it? Indie?
Oh, Nintendies.
Nintendies.
Isn't it Nintendo? Or am I just hungry? Is it Nintendies?
You're starving.
It's just Nintendo Indie Showcase, and I like to call it Nindies.
Is it Indie Showcase?
Or is it Nindies? It's something they mixed Nintendo and Paul, correct us. Paul knows.
Yeah, Nindies Showcase. They actually call it NINDIES. And then they have Indie World, which is different.
That's what I'm talking about. Indie World. I've never heard of
that. Indie World, but they also have a Nindies Showcase.
They do?
Yeah.
I have never seen it.
That's been a while.
Okay. So the Indie World Showcase, Nintendo Direct, and the Partner Showcase are three very different events. And I think they each have three different, very different levels of production and games that they show, right? I think that the most comparable are the partners and the full direct, as when it comes to the quality of the games, right? In the indie showcase, we see a lot of more small developers with their games. Sometimes even a developer of one shows up with their game into an indie world showcase, and so that's why. So we have to set our expectation depending on the type of direct that it is. We're not going to see a Mario in a partner direct unless it's partnered with Rabbids, right? Or Sonic, Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, which by the way, I'm still waiting for that game. I think it's going to come out soon. It's 2020.
It's an Olympic year.
Yeah, it is Olympic year, 2024 at Paris, right? It's the perfect time. And that could be a good title for the holidays if we have nothing else. But I do think that it was a pretty solid showcase. I want to play Monster Hunter, that first game. It was on 3DS, right? The port, the first one,
first 3DS one.
Yeah,
I wonder if they're going to have the Zelda crossover with it, like they did.
With
I don't know if you remember that, but Link was in Monster Hunter Stories on 3DS.
Ooh.
I remember that. I didn't play it, but I do remember
big
that.
Zelda crossover. That would be
that'd be
cool.
awesome. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That one was a big takeover for me. I had Contra after I saw Josie aesthetic on Twitter. What else? I love the entire presentation. There's a lot of games. Penny's Big Breakaway is a breakaway. It's a breakaway title. Everybody's crazy about that game, and I can't wait to start playing that too. But overall, it was a great direct. And we all thought that was going to be it, but apparently not. Apparently, there is more rumor mongering and more leakerage, or what do you call it? About leakage, about more presentations on the way towards us. And so, before we get into the topics, I just want to let everybody know in the chat, if you would love to join the discussion within the podcast, you can do so with any super chat. Just put your question that you might have on the topic, and we'll highlight it, and either of us will cover it, or you can also leave your question towards the end of the podcast where we have our Q&A. Okay, so super chats can be in the podcast. Any other question could be part of the Q&A at the other podcast. Okay, so without further ado, let me go ahead and sum up the leakage, sum up the leakage, and then we'll go ahead and discuss it. One of the rumors out there, which was given to us by, I think it was the first person, the second person, third person. There's so many leakers out there, but basically, I think it was they also spoke about the partner showcase, so they had something right. There's apparently another 2 more presentations coming from Nintendo. One is the Indie World Showcase, and then another one will be a Nintendo Direct, like a full presentation of the Nintendo Direct. The Indie World Showcase apparently is to take place in March, and then the Nintendo Direct will be taking place in April. All right. There's another thing that they mentioned, but I'll let that for the second topic so we can discuss that. But so far, apparently we are getting 2 more presentations, one with the Indie World and another Nintendo Direct in April. Now, if this is the case, that will be like so out of left field, because we are already in left field. We got the first Direct of the year is a partner showcase, so that's already a left field kind of move for Nintendo. But then having these 2 other presentations back to back, month after month, we know we only saw this. I think it was in June of a couple of years ago, where Nintendo did. I think it was a partner showcase, and then at the very end of the month, remember you guys remember? Very end of the month, they did some kind of presentation. I'm not sure if it was for a single game or it was a Direct, but it was one of the last couple of months of last couple of years during the summer. And I remember because that year we can't hear you, Josie. You're muted.
That's my bad. You mean when they had like that separate Direct, like for the Mario movie, or when they have like a dedicated game Direct or something?
I think it was a dedicated Direct. I know it wasn't a 20-something of June. Yeah, 20-something of June, 29th, 20, very, very, very far back. I remember because that year, that's when I made the skit of the breaking news, and they kept kind of postponing the Direct, or the rumors kept changing. And so I know that year we did have a presentation before in the same month, but then we had another presentation towards the end of the year. But with that, why would you think there would be a partner, or not a partner, but more like an indie showcase, and then a Nintendo Direct? I want to throw this question out to Paul to see if we can find some kind of reasoning behind this scheduling from Nintendo this year. What do you think, Paul?
If it's true, this is a really good way to stagger out the games and keep the public mind share on Nintendo often. You don't want to lose people talking about you. So instead of kind of like having, maybe this is the last full year of Nintendo Switch, regardless of whether the system comes out, this year or next, it could be the last full year before it has, its successor kind of beginning to dominate. I guess technically, probably that statement's going to be true regardless. Last full, and it technically wouldn't even be the full year if Nintendo Switch 2 came out this year. But let's rewind. Instead of having an all your eggs in one basket kind of an event in February, let the third parties shine, show good faith. Don't dominate the scene. Let the third parties have their opportunity to continue to sell and their strength in numbers on that side. Have the public continue to talk in March with an indie showcase and show off some titles that maybe that's where you have Silk Song. That's where you look at Hades 2 again. That's where you have a couple of other surprises. And then in April, 1, 2, 3, have a Nintendo Direct. It's a little bit earlier than your normal June one. It's a little bit later than your February one, but this one is kind of in that, well, it is that third way into the year that usually the February ones don't have the full year. They kind of have the half and a little bit of a sprinkle.
Yeah.
Usually the June ones have the second half and maybe a little bit of the rest. So April is, since it's kind of right in between, that could be, here's the rest of the year for Nintendo Switch games. And then you piggyback off of that, and maybe you skip May, but then in June, potentially the Nintendo Switch 2 first debut. Boom, boom, boom. You have the mind share. And I think that's pretty strong. And then, like, there's something else, even, like I said, there is one thing that I don't think I officially talked about, but there is one other thing that, I mean, if you're paying attention on Twitter, you might have a clue of what I know because I didn't mention it. But there is one other thing that is partner related that you can read into it that wasn't there, but will happen eventually at some point in this year. That could be a standalone announcement of here's a special blank direct just for this thing, or it could be included in a Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
You just keep the people talking. But if Nintendo Switch 2 is shown in June, I think it's a very small tease. But we really don't know about when is it coming out. It could be this nice June followed by September followed by November release. That would be good. But it feels like it's too long of a time if you go June, September to show it more and then release the thing in like March. Because that just 9-month window is a little bit unnecessary. Unless if they do Switch price drops and stuff like that, maybe. But I'm neither on definitely successors coming out this year or next year. It really could be either, and Nintendo would be just fine either way.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of scenarios that work.
I feel like if it gets announced in June, like you were saying, March is too big of a distance. I feel like that would have to be a holiday release at the latest.
Yeah.
Which I would be very okay with.
I mean, on Twitter, I shared this. I looked down. I looked back in time. How long did it take from Nintendo first talking about Super Nintendo to when it came out? First dropping Project Ultra 64 to when it came out. The first Nintendo Dolphin tease until GameCube. The first time we heard about Nintendo Revolution to when Wii came out. The first time, Nintendo successor Wii U to then. The first time NX until Nintendo Switch. And they are these big gaps. They're always these big gaps. I mean, you're looking at a couple of years sometimes. I just don't see it happening this time because they have that healthy 122 million active player user base of the 140 million people that have it. So you don't need to do it this time. And people are worried about, because on the flip side, some folks are like, but Nintendo's going to overstay their welcome. They're going to drag it out like they always do. Not this time. It's too strong going in. It's not like 3DS on its last legs or Wii U on its last legs or Wii or GameCube on its last legs. It's too strong that you don't need this. So anything over 9 months seems like overkill.
Yeah.
Unless if you have a really strong Nintendo Switch lineup, which could make argument of that April Direct having here's boom everything for the last 8 months of the year, and it's really good, and that way there's enough momentum and interest to stay in Nintendo Switch, even though people know that NS2 is coming out in March possibly, that this 9-month gap isn't going to hurt it because they let it all out there like, hey, you might be looking forward to that next system, but there's so much coming your way this year. We're going out with the bang.
That's the only way I feel like.
But could be.
Yeah, that's the only way I think I would wait till next year, like to see like a lot of really cool games coming. That's just Nintendo literally giving it all out in that Direct, and then people are like, okay, we can wait. There's so much already there for us, So what do you think, Zach? What do you think about this weird lineup from Nintendo giving the partner showcase February? It's like they're giving they gave the center stage of the partner showcase. Paul was right. They gave it like it was the center stage so that the third party games could shine a little more. Now we have the indie world, and now then it's rumored then the April thing. What do you think about what's Nintendo thinking about?
You know, it's just exciting. Like, they can do anything. The Switch 2 can drop next month. Like, you know, it's so bananas right now. And yeah, I am just excited for whatever they show us. I feel like they're gonna keep feeding us more and more games and more information, especially too if they were to announce the Switch 2 being backwards compatible up front.
Mm-hmm.
Then that window can be however long you want, because all these games that are coming out for the Switch are Switch 2 games as well, if it's backwards compatible. So yeah, I kind of have no expectations. All I'm waiting for is, we've said it a million times here at this point, Metroid Prime. Like, show me Metroid Prime. And when you show me that Switch 2 is, the announcement's right behind, I feel like there's no way it's not. And yeah, I'm just hyped. I'm on the Nintendo hype train. I'm just like, all aboard, choo choo, let's go. Like,
yes.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, at this point, they could literally just make Metroid Prime 4 a Switch 2 game, right? They could do that. People will be upset, but it's you know, I feel I'm not sure if I'm alone in this, but I feel like with what we've heard so far about this Metroid Prime 4 game, I feel like this is going to be the biggest game they've ever done in the Metroid Prime franchise. With the bigger open areas, with the multiplayer thing, it feels like a Destiny type of game. You guys played Destiny before? Destiny, like that kind of, you know, they have these open giant zone areas like that. And if they actually do that, this could actually be in the Call of Duty type / Destiny of Nintendo, right? And it could turn into that. And so anybody who loves shooters the way they love Call of Duty or Destiny or things like that, they can actually, you know, come into Nintendo and get hooked on Metroid. Metroid has a good storyline, I think better than any Call of Duty, because the Call of Duty is just like history, right? They take history, or they take fiction, they make it together, and that's it. But Metroid has a lore behind it, has characters behind it that they can actually go in deeper with it, and then create this immersive universe, right? So, Switch 2, maybe, you know. With that, Joycey, what do you think about Nintendo? What do you think? I mean, I know I know you're from Hyrule. I know there's
yes, of course.
What does Hyrule think about what Nintendo, the parent, is doing?
Well, I had a very, very long conversation with the Gerudo tribe. I hung out in the desert with them a lot. They are my people. And it turns out most of Hyrule is excited because they're back in production for another game. Seriously, I'm always excited about Nintendo, because one thing I want to point out, you know, and Paul's talked about this extensively. You know, we're 90s kids, we're 80s babies, and everything. So, you know, and you're a kid, so you're not necessarily always following every single thing, but you know, you only get your hands on what your friends know, and Nintendo Power, an article here, an article there. Where today it's just constant information. And I appreciate the way that Nintendo keeps up with it. We're constantly getting tweeted at. We're constantly getting some kind of something from them, even if it's something kind of cute and funny, or some kind of game announcement, whether it's indie or it's third party, it doesn't matter. They're constantly talking to us. So it's awesome. So I think this is my thought process. First of all, there's a zillion rumors out there. I have a conspiracy theory about that, but there's a zillion rumors out there. But this is what makes sense in my mind. I feel like Nintendo's doing things a little bit backwards. So we have a partner showcase, which in my opinion was a solid B+. It was a banger. And then we have we're gonna have Indie World, and then I can see them doing the big direct. Either, I know we're hearing April, but to me it seems like May might be a little bit better. But that's just my opinion. And then I can see them dropping a reveal for Switch 2, Switch Pro, whatever the heck we're going to call it, sometime over the summer. And then I can see us getting another our usual fall direct, but it's going to be that one that makes us fall out of our seats. It's going to be that one where we're all screaming. little tidbit about me. I know I've said this before, but for those who don't know, when I'm feeling down, one of my favorite things to do is to go on YouTube and watch people's reactions to directs. It's pure elation and joy, and it just lifts your spirits. It makes you feel good. It's like, that's right. It's like, I'm having a hard day, but good God, I remember that. That was great, you know, and it kind of lifts your spirits. So I think that's going to be the one that's really, you know, we're just so excited. We're literally throwing our money at the computer. Like, you know, I want it now. I'm pre-ordering everything.
That's hilarious.
And I do think that Nintendo will keep their word about Metroid Prime 4. This is a franchise I really want to win, and it's so interesting because I actually haven't played a Metroid game, and my personal vow is I'm not playing it until they show us something, and I will buy all the games, buy them, okay, and I will play all of them, and you know, and get a feel for what it is. But because everybody thinks that Nintendo only does Zelda and Mario, it's like, y'all ain't heard of Splatoon. Y'all don't know about Metroid Prime, the Metroid games, you know, and there's so many other things that I feel that that really we need to really stamp on Nintendo. So it's not just a Mario maker and a Zelda maker kind of company. We got games, lots of them. We got a lot of first party IPs. But I think they'll keep their promise. And you have to remember, you know, Retro is owned by Nintendo.
Yeah.
Nintendo's always working on hardware. You mean to tell me somebody from Nintendo and Retro haven't had lunch in these past like 5 years, saying, hey, talking about different new systems, how game development is going on? Come on now. So I wouldn't be surprised if Metroid Prime 4 is made for Switch 2. Could even be part of the reason why it had to go back into development again. But it's going to be it's going to be backwards compatible, or it's going to be like Breath of the Wild was. It's going to be a Wii U. It's going to be a dual release. I do think Nintendo will keep their promise on that. I really do. But in order to assist in selling Switch 2, they're going to say, but don't you want it on the new pretty system that has more features or whatever they're going to do with it? You know, it makes you waffles and it runs MP4 a little bit better. I'm always looking for somebody to make me waffles. I make Joe make me waffles all the time.
And in the morning, I'm making waffles.
Actually, my boyfriend makes better waffles than me. And every time I go visit my dad in Missouri, he's like, I know what my baby girl wants. He's like, we got to have waffles for like 3 of the mornings that she's here. That's just what happens. That's kind of how I think. But I think that the direct in the fall.
I have to highlight this because I think I want to make them now. Triforce waffles.
It's the cooking game that we all needed.
We need. No, I want to make them. I want to find some way to make like triangle waffles.
I'm sure you could probably find it. You can probably find one on Amazon.
I was about to say I'm checking Amazon right now.
Somebody always says something that I'm like, oh, I've done something similar to that. Not quite Triforce waffles, but I have Triforce ice cube trays. And when I have a party like a UFC night or something like that at my house, or Palapalooza is, by the way, the name of my summer birthday party, if you're wondering.
Why are we living out here when we can be neighbors with Paul and have all these parties? Come on, man.
I would just go over to Paul's house, like, we partying tonight, and he's like, Joyce, it's a work night. No, we're not partying. Well, no, we're partying.
my guests, they get a root beer float or whatever they want, but on the very top of it, floating, is an ice cube that is in the shape of a Triforce, and it is an actual Triforce ice cube, and it's really cool. It's a little bit
why not?
to pop out, but you know, it's totally worth it because people are like, dang, I've never seen that before.
Because why not, y'all? Why only
grass,
at Paul's
Triforce ice cubes.
A Triforce toaster that leaves like the bread on it, on the bread right in the middle of it.
If you can get one with Link actually holding up the Triforce and the wind blowing in his hair,
okay, development. On Google or Amazon, there are no Triforce or Zelda waffle makers, surprisingly.
Man.
The closest we got is this person who cut their waffles into triangles.
Oh,
that's the closest we got.
Mike, sorry. I don't want it to go unnoticed in the chat, but Crazy Scoth, member for 25 months, Power Up Plus member, did say something I don't know if you saw it. You could read it if you want. There you go.
Oh yeah. I actually highlighted it earlier.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that. When are we going to get Lego Zelda? We've heard of the Deku Tree set, but what other sets are in the pipeline?
Good question.
Good question.
So I've been hesitant to say it, but I guess I will because it seems like it's a fine opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, for the last several podcasts, Mike knows this behind the scenes because I actually told him.
Yeah.
A while ago. But when I say there is this one other partner-related thing that Nintendo could do, and I teased on Twitter, there is a certain partner, such as Lego, that could be there or could not. I do know one other thing. It is officially that there is a Legend of Zelda Lego partnership happening. Yes, it was leaked, but leaked documents sometimes don't end up becoming real. Things could get canceled, things could get scrapped. And I've known about the Lego Deku Tree and Zelda project, and then that things are in the pipeline beyond to continue with the Zelda franchise and Nintendo going forward out of success with Mario and with Donkey Kong and Princess Peach and those sets, and the collaboration being good between Nintendo and Lego and the respect for the groups. So that, yeah, if you're wondering, is the Zelda thing still happening? This is the tease that it happened with. Crazy Scott brought it up now, and I'm like, I'll just say it. And it's not that big of a thing, I guess, but based off of who I heard it from, and since I know it, whenever I report on it or answer a question, it is one of those things that I comment saying, that would be cool or that is neat, but I do know. So without giving anything away, I guess I could just corroborate, more or less, that the thing that was leaked that you all kind of know about, and that's why I'm not feeling weird about saying it, really.
Yeah.
I could say it's legit. And then that's why I thought it could possibly show up at this partner showcase earlier this week. Not that I knew it would, and it didn't, but that was the little tease. So
are they waiting?
I have a question.
That could pop up sometime in the year. Maybe March is that Nindies or Indie World. Maybe April is the Direct. Maybe May is a Zelda Lego reveal. Maybe June is the Direct. But honestly, I found out about this information a little bit too soon, and it's a long time coming to make sure the product goes from concept to showing. But yeah,
I have a question. I'm not asking if you know, Paul. But I do want your thoughts on this. Is it possible that Lego could do some kind of game, movie, kind of in connection or loosely based on, or even based on the Legend of Zelda?
Oh yeah.
So definitely,
I can see that happening.
I don't know of anything like that, but Lego has such a good relationship at this point with Nintendo, and they've done so many things before. I mean, there's a whole Lego thing in Fortnite now, and with anybody you could think of, with Star Wars, with Batman, with Harry Potter.
Batman, that's the one I like.
Hilarious, right?
Could Nintendo trust the development team, to do a Lego Mario video game, a Lego Legend of Zelda video game, a Star Fox Lego movie? I mean, that's a big next step, but is it possible? 100%. It's just how
think about what they did.
Nintendo.
Think about what they did with because we know the 90s had some weird things going on. We had the CDI games, we had the first Mario movie and everything. But the way that they do their spin-offs now, I mean, they're solid quality.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good. Y'all know I love Hyrule Warriors. And then Cadence of Hyrule. Very, very different kind of thing. So I think it could work. And then the Lego games are really nothing to scoff at. So I could see it working.
I think the Star Wars
could do
was terrific.
They could do like a special amiibo crossover. I know that won't happen, but I'm just thinking about Lego Dimensions and how that was, Toys to Life amiibos. I have a ton of them on my wall, just off camera right over there. And I'm like, they could re-release the amiibo line like as a special like one-off launch, and it's just like a special edition, a Lego version of each amiibo. Like, who's to say that would sell?
Get on it, Nintendo.
On topic, we have a $5 super chat from Boo Mini. Thank you so much, Boo Mini, for super chat. And the question is there an Ocarina of Time remake, visually, art style speaking, which Zelda game would it look like? Most look like. So if there's one, visually, art style speaking, which Zelda would it look most like?
Gotta be Twilight Princess.
If there were an Ocarina of Time, just like Twilight Princess, art style type.
If they were doing a different art style,
mm-hmm.
I feel like it'd have to be Twilight Princess for Ocarina of Time.
Okay. And then what do you think, Paul?
I would love the. I think I'm understanding. I typed it in the comment section to respond, but if I'm understanding the question correctly, I would love the Ocarina of Time art style to look like the Wii U tech demo that I got to play at E3 2011, because that thing was just stunning, and it was done on Wii U architecture.
Okay.
So the possibilities on the next system, if it would be on that system,
it'll even be better than that one, because that was on Wii U. You're right. So it'll look more fluid. What do you think, Jesse?
So I'm on. Me and Paul are on the same team. We're on the Wii U tech demo team. But there's a reason why I picked that. Is because Twilight Princess was before Breath of the Wild. It was the best selling in the entire series because it was realistic. But I think what Nintendo's trying to do is they found that sweet spot between very artistic and still unrealistic, but very artistic with the cell shading and everything.
Yeah.
And the Wii U tech demo happens to be in that sweet spot.
Okay.
And we don't really. The thing about Ocarina of Time, as hardcore fans, it would be fun to kind of see it remade in all these different types of art styles, but I really think we want to keep the soul of the game. The game's colorful, it's bright. I understand why some people think, oh, that's just a game for kids if you just look at it on surface value. And I really think that with the Wii U tech demo, with those type of graphics, we can get all the pop colors, we can keep the soul of the game, but it's going to look still just a little bit different. And because the Wii U tech demo really looks almost identical to Twilight Princess for the most part.
Just better.
So exactly. And then also you got to remember, if they remake Ocarina of Time, I mean, they don't have to, but they should also remake Majora's Mask in the same style so they match. Because Majora's Mask is a direct sequel to Ocarina of Time.
That makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Mike. No, you're good.
Go ahead, go ahead, Zach. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I did think about too while we were talking, and you were saying how that style fits in the middle, like it's in the sweet spot. There is one more Zelda style that has as little representation as the.
We're not doing Toon Link.
No, Smash Ultimate. They made their own original version of Zelda, like not from any game. And I just pulled that up to like look at her and like actually look at the details on my phone, and I'm just like, oh yeah, like this is very Ocarina of Time looking to me. Like
it is
the head shape and how. So I would be kind of down with either the Wii U tech demo or even something that looks kind of like that. Like it's not as cartoony as Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. It's still realistic looking, but like it's still
not too realistic.
Yeah, it's like OG classic Zelda proportions, dimensions. Like I don't know, I'd be down with that too, to explore a Zelda in that style.
And then the other thing is with Twilight Princess, is even though it's in my top 5, it's one of the best Zelda games, some of the best dungeons, best stories, best sidekick ever. God bless you. Best sidekick ever, because Midna, I don't know, I need more Midna to come back. Anyway, it's devoid of a lot of those things that we kind of like about Zelda. We like pop color. We like all those different things, but I think Nintendo was trying to overcorrect from what they did with Wind Waker, because Wind Waker was too cartoony.
Yeah.
For most, it has an amazing story. You have it's one of the best Ganons. I like all Ganons, but Wind Waker really has one of the best Ganons, because Ganon kind of gives you a reason on why he's doing what he's doing. And y'all know not to get me started talking on Zelda. And so I think that the Wii U tech demo, we have better possibility. And because I've already said it a million times, the first Hyrule Warriors, where they just let the developer
That's
You're
it.
contagious, Paul. Thank you. Who's the developer, Paul? It's Koei
Tecmo?
Pyro Warriors, the first one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Koei Tecmo,
yeah.
or what is?
Koei Tecmo.
Yeah, Koei Tecmo. Thank you. I never get it right, even though I never get it right. They kind of Nintendo said, look, kind of do your thing with it. We trust you in a way, and they really, really shined. That game is one big love letter to Zelda. But if you look at the graphics, it's the perfect sweet spot. You have all your pop color. You have all the definition. Link is probably the most adorable that I've ever seen him. Same with Zelda. They look exactly the way I feel that they always look in my mind. So I think that was like that's the best sweet spot. Okay, get me off of Zelda to talk about something else, because
I got my options too. I think I'm a little bit spoiled with that Studio Ghibli that this YouTube channel made the other day, because it just looks so awesome in between it's like a 3D kind of Studio Ghibli style for Ocarina of Time. And so I like that. I am a big fan of Toon Link, by the way. I am a huge fan of that's one of my favorite designs for when it comes to small Link, right? Wind Waker Link. And so
the fan base has a beef with that Link.
A combination of that Link with Studio Ghibli Link kind of there. I like the art style for Studio Ghibli. I like the I would say a combination between Studio Ghibli and Breath of the Wild type Link, like that kind of, So that for me, that will be a really good art style, my opinion. When it comes to Ocarina of Time, I did play the first one halfway through, never finished it, but
the ending is so epic. You got to finish it.
But I can see it in that kind of style. It's because I already saw it. That's why I'm spoiled, because who was it that made it? Ron Link, I think it is. And he basically did an incredible job in animating. It's actually an engine. It's running on an engine, and he's actually playing it whenever he's designing the game. He's actually playing it. So I saw Link moving in between the town, and I saw the people moving in the background, like if they were kind of some kind of painting slash kind of cartoon kind of thing. So that was pretty cool. So I think that will be, that'll be awesome. But we're all expecting. Hopefully, we get that remake done, and hopefully that's attached to that.
Let's just all agree we at least want an Ocarina of Time remake.
Yeah, and hopefully that comes soon, and it's attached to the Lego, figures that hopefully that one, the Great Deku Tree, for the Lego thing is attached to the game.
Ocarina of Time Lego.
I still remember
it's gonna be a whole Lego remake.
Yeah.
When the 3DS remake came out, and if you pre-ordered it, and then you sent your pre-order receipt to Nintendo, you would get a CD of the soundtrack, and so
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so maybe they do the same type of thing, but we get a Lego set when we pre-order.
That's pretty cool. Thank you so much, Boom Mini, for that $5 super chat. You see what you did? You created a new topic with your super chat there, and it's fun, right? We kind of wander off and we kind of answer your question there, and I'm glad, because it brought up that we almost got confirmation from Paul Gill Network, exclusive here at the Atomic Podcast. We're getting a Deku Tree Lego, right? If we get shut down, I'll blame Paul.
Whoops.
No worries. All right, let's see here. So yeah, we got those. The next topic is regarding Switch 2, and also from this very same leaker, because I think Paul already hit it on the nail when he gave his view on it. He mentioned I keep forgetting the name of the thing, of the Indie World. The Indie World in March, the full Nintendo Direct in April, and he mentioned a June reveal for the Nintendo Switch 2. And so that falls into our next topic, June reveal for Switch 2. Now, I'll kick off this one. It sounds very solid. I think that lineup, along with the directs before it, sounds kind of solid, just because, just like Paul mentioned, this April Direct for Nintendo could literally talk about, release the rest of the year, because we already have so many games already stated for this first half of the year. We started with, of course, another Code Red Collection, Mario versus Donkey Kong. This March we're getting Princess Peach Showtime. We have nothing for April, and that's a good time for that Direct, because maybe Nintendo will just shadow drop a game like Metroid 2 and 3, and that'll be that month's game. Or maybe Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, that'll be that month's game. But Nintendo always maybe shadow drop something, right? And that could be that month's game, and so that they can continue and fill in the rest of the calendar year, or maybe at the end of the April Direct, give us that Switch 2 trailer, the teaser.
Ooh.
And then after the trailer, the teaser, at the end, the June event, the actual on-stage event. Since in the summer, we get all these stage events and all these showcases and games, Summer Game Fest. It's a good time for Nintendo to actually display their games and show their games in all these other stages, right? We got Gamescom, and what's the other one that takes place in Greece? Is that Gamescom? Is it the Greece?
In Greece?
Yeah.
The country?
Greece.
Gamescom is in Germany.
Germany, not Greece. Sorry, Germany.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what?
Germany, yeah, Germany.
That's August.
Yeah, and that's in August.
Summer Game Fest is in June.
June.
I don't know if Nintendo would want to show off this Nintendo Switch 2 thing at Gamescom or Summer Game Fest, or like they have traditionally had their own June Nintendo Direct. It used to be tied in with an E3, but we've seen that E3 hasn't been around in a while, and Nintendo has still committed to June pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Sad.
And so maybe Nintendo can just pick them up for June, just because they'll take the place of E3. Just do that to their on-stage presentation. Well, they'll show the system, and they'll give us a couple of games, for launch games, and then holiday season release. I think I'm in the belief that if Nintendo goes off, I trigger something. My ball trigger something.
Dang! I just had a fun thought, and that was this alternate reality. I just came up with the scenario myself.
Yeah.
What if there was an E3 this year? How would my answers be different? Because I've been at the launch of quite a few Nintendo pieces of hardware. I was there first to play, GameCube, Wii, Wii U, DS, 3DS, and Nintendo Switch, but that was different because that was the Unexpected Places tour with John Cena. I think that if there was an E3 this June, then my answer would be, Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be shown off at that E3. Yeah. And depending on whether it would be coming out this year or next, it would be playable in some capacity. If it was coming out this year, it would be on the show floor playable. If it was coming out next year, it would be behind the scenes playable, but with journalists and media folks being able to talk about it, because it wasn't going to be hidden. It's just not available yet to the public to play, because the public's perception is one thing, whereas if you have a smaller community of journalists that kind of know, this is a little bit earlier, not to show it, but to speak on it, it's coming from a different mindset. Like, this is not ready. Like, the public would be like, mind spread. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. If it wasn't that stuff. But I was just running through my head right now. If there was an E3 this June, Nintendo Switch 2 would be at it.
Yeah, Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because it's too big of an event not to.
Yeah,
go ahead. Paul keeps giving me ideas because in my alternate timeline in a different universe, just a fun idea. I really don't think Nintendo would do this, but what if we got just one big old Direct? We wake up on a random summer Monday morning, and Nintendo's like, tune in on Wednesday for an hour-long Direct. Yeah,
and I know people. It's 40 minutes, just 20 minutes more.
Yeah, so it would be 20 minutes to discuss the system and then 40 minutes of games. Hey, this is my alternate universe.
Yeah, it's good.
These are my rules.
I mean, if Taco Bell could do their own E3 like they did earlier this year out of nowhere, then Who's
The
to
fact
say?
the fact that Taco Bell even thinks
cool.
that they actually serve actual food. I mean, they're already delusional. Yeah, I said it.
This is hilarious. Hey, yeah, I was thinking about them as a sponsor. We're all supposed to eat tacos and say, "Hey, Taco Bell sponsored the Topics podcast."
I'll just make you tacos and freeze them and send them to you. Okay, yeah. Anyway, but seriously, I think that would be fun because the thing is, I know that people are like, "Oh, you can't have anything for that long. Nobody watches stuff like that." People will watch a Nintendo Switch
for sure.
2 reveal plus 40 minutes of games. Oh, we'd watch the heck out of that.
Yeah, I
We'd
would
be
watch
screaming
more
for a whole hour straight.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they won't do that, guys. But it's fun to think about.
But I'm all with Paul because I still think that if Nintendo does reveal this year, it's gonna be this year. They're not gonna reveal this year and do it next year. And I say this with all confidence, knowing that the Nintendo president, the one they have now, it's a money man. He's a finance person. All he thinks about is how to keep the shareholders happy, how to keep those stocks high, and how to make sure that they're constantly doing revenue. He's like Apple. They always like thinking about what's next. Even if this phone looks like the previous one, and they add something else, that's why Apple became the first $1 trillion company in the world. If Nintendo follows that line and they give us gradual updates to the Nintendo Switch, but with something better specs, and then every 2 years or every 4 years, whatever, then you'll see Nintendo go up too. Because basically people like familiar things, and I mean they don't, So I see the June thing as a possibility, but I added the trailer, the teaser trailer to the end of the Nintendo Direct, the June presentation on stage, right? Because then in Summer Game Fest they can show off games. They can show off games at Gamescom. They can show off games wherever they have more presentations out there. They could just show the games because the games are the ones who are going to push the consoles, right? The sales. And
does Nintendo go to PGF though, or SGF?
Who's SGF?
Summer Game Fest.
I know Reggie was there.
Summer thing. Well, Reggie will go anywhere because, in my personal opinion, it seems like Reggie misses Nintendo. But anyway,
he does.
I think he does, because he hopped on the Mother 3 train the other day, and he said, "Yeah, don't stop asking me for Mother 3 too." And it's like, bro, just come back and just just come back and work it for Nintendo. You know you want to. But from what I understand, like from what I remember, which isn't always much, that Nintendo doesn't go to Summer Game Fest.
I mean,
I think they should. But
Summer Game Fest is kind of new, It's been 4 years now. 4 years for Summer Game Fest.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years.
I think it's 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, so it's when it comes to the game shows, it's practically new. But
Nintendo should go.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft already went. They've been there. Has Sony been to Summer Game Fest?
They've all had games shown there, but
not be like
a spokesperson, hop on top and stuff like that. No.
Yeah.
Hear me out, Mike.
Yeah,
Summer Game Fest is going on. Some random, barely Nintendo-related game trailer comes up, and then it says all the game systems the game's coming to.
Yeah.
And then it says Nintendo Switch, but the I's missing, so it's just SWTCH. And we're like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, 2 eyes appear next to it, making like a 2. They disappear.
I love it.
They reappear in the middle.
Nintendo
Switch. It's a sequel to the Switch and the Wii. Both of their most successful systems ever.
Yeah.
I love that.
Cool logo.
And it sounds like Mario saying it.
Right.
It's a Nintendo Switch.
Oh my gosh. You don't understand how much I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
I did a pretend logo like that with if the Nintendo calls it the Nintendo Trio, then the 2 eyes at the end is for Trio. Because that's it. Why Trio? Because there's 3 gimmicks. There's a handheld, there's a dock, and there's a VR. The 3 things that the Nintendo Switch will be known for. But I like that. I like the eye kind of thing there with the blink at the end, and then come back here. Yeah. But what do you think, Zach? What do you think about a possible June presentation? And then what do you see if it's June? What release window do you give it?
If it's June, I think the biggest thing is announcement for the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be. And so, like, I can't, we know it's coming. Like, that's a fact at this point. And so, like, the longer, and like Paul said, like, from their initial announcement to the actual drop, they can wait a good amount of time sometimes. And so it's like, how can we get to June, have a presentation, and not have the Switch 2 announced? Yeah. And so, we all know, like, we're all assuming, we know the Switch 2 is coming. That's something we know. We are all assuming Metroid Prime is going to be the launch title. So that would be what I want. Okay. Everyone in the Nintendo community besides Joycey assumes that Metroid Prime is going to be a launch title.
Because I have a reason though, because I don't, that's why I was saying earlier, I want Metroid Prime to win. I think that fan base has suffered enough. And I think, yes, and I want it on Switch too, but see, think about it like this. They want to start with a guaranteed hit. Okay. That's probably going to be a big 3D Mario game. Yeah. Remember how we felt when we first saw Odyssey and we saw a T-Rex and then we just saw Cappy? Oh, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Oh gosh. I loved Odyssey. So they're going to do that. And then we're going to have probably, I don't know, a couple other first parties. Instead of arms, we're going to get arms too, legs and elbows. I don't know. We're going to get something like that. And probably some kind of other updates to other games. And when we're all so excited and we're falling out and we're crying and everything, we're so excited. Then they're going to be like, by the way, here's Metroid Prime 4, and that, I think that would be the sweet spot. And I think it could work within the first year of the system launch. That's my opinion though.
Yeah. Yeah,
because they want that to be a hit. That's because I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be their sleeper hit. It's just going to come out of nowhere.
If we do get an April Direct, will that be the main title at the end?
Nope. Well, it depends. If Switch, I don't think they're going to tell us anything more about Metroid Prime 4 until Switch 2 is officially announced. Or if they do, what I would do if I ran marketing, because I know what I'm talking about. They would do the whole thing. I've told y'all my dream direct already. Yeah. But for the Metroid Prime part, if they kind of open a direct with shadow drops of Metroid Prime 2 and 3, and then everybody's like, "Yay! Oh, it's 2 and 3. Okay, well we're still gonna play that, but yay, Metroid. Okay." And then you have all your other games, and then at the very end, that's when they drop Metroid Prime 4. You know what I mean? And it's coming to the new Switch, or I can't do a good Mario like that.
Switch.
Yes, and everybody just cries happy tears. It'll be beautiful.
Paul, I see you pondering. What's in your mind? What's going
on? I Nintendo has still committed to Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
TBA or TBD alternating for Nintendo Switch. I don't think they want to lose out on that 140 million install base.
Yeah.
But the game's been taking so long that I could see that maybe at some point gears shifted and hey, the vision is so big that let's focus on the next generation hardware to make it as big and successful on that, but also continue to develop it on the base NS.
Yeah.
And it's this dual launch game that you could buy one of two different versions, and that's that. Or depending on Nintendo Switch 2's backwards compatibility, if it has any, and if it is capable of up-resing certain titles, whether it is natively or you have to pay for a performance patch of $5 or $10 and it brings that old game up into a higher resolution, greater graphics, all that kind of stuff, just depending on what developers want to do a la carte kind of with it.
Yeah.
Maybe it is some games have more significant than others of an upgrade, and maybe Metroid Prime 4 is one of those that like, oh no, there's a reason why you spend the $5 or $10 for this upgrade. So that's another possibility. Or, honestly, it could just be a Nintendo Switch game that is just late in the gen, took a long time. It's the Nintendo Switch's a swan song. Not that they don't support it, not that they don't have, maybe a Mario sports title that comes out, a couple of years from now that could still run on the base Switch and the Switch 2. But the last big games, maybe it's this, and that's it. The least likely scenario is they skip Nintendo Switch and they just make Metroid Prime 4 only for Nintendo Switch 2. That's the scenario I don't think, because
I don't think so either.
Even though part of me, from a gamer's mindset, is, dang, that would be cool if there was no common denominator that was low enough to hold back any of the vision. I don't think it's a smart plan, and I think Nintendo Switch probably is capable enough, because after all, much of this team, the last time they worked on a Metroid game, was Metroid Prime 3, and the difference in power from Wii to now is tremendous, but also the developers' minds have also grown into what is more capable, what are our peers doing. We saw who Nintendo and who, Retro Studios, being one of the same, was hiring for this, and they got a lot of talented people from all over the place. So I think the ambition is big. So I'm not ruling out the possibility that maybe it got too big that it skips Nintendo Switch, but I don't think so, because I don't think it's a good move to alienate that audience. And they have still committed to this this whole time. Nintendo Switch, TBD, TBA. And so I think it's coming on both, but
honestly, I feel like they would put it on the Switch even if it was running 8 frames a second. Like,
I don't know if they'd want it to look bad.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd want to have a bad version, because in my opinion, I'm a little bit biased, but honestly, looking back, I don't think Nintendo's ever made a bad game.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, 1 is horrible, 10 is amazing, 5 is that truly average, mediocre experience that it has not so good qualities, some excellent qualities, but overall not enough to make it anything more than tipping the scale. So being bad to me is that pure, real 3 out of 10. I don't think Nintendo's ever made a game in history that's a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, it's gonna be almost 8 years for development time for Metroid Prime 4 soon, right? And so do you think
we're at 5 years, I think, aren't we?
I think Retro Studios took on probably October of 2018, because we got the announcement January 2019. So I have to imagine the public announcement is a little bit after. Internally, they already shifted.
Okay.
But it has been, almost 7 years since that E3 of 2017.
Yeah, with that
when they announced it. So that unfortunately looks like that was scrapped. But such a big project that I could see, if it's shown off this April in this Nintendo Direct, and it is coming out this November, people are worried, what is about Nintendo Switch? What about those last half of the year? What's their big game? First of all, folks, we've got the Pokemon Day coming next week. That's going to have something. I don't think it's the successor to Scarlet and Violet. Not too early for that. But something like another Legends game, or remake of like the Black and White kind of territory, or something adjacent to Pokemon Snap, or a new Pokken tournament, or a new stadium, or a Pokemon XD Paul Gale of Darkness, which would be like a remake of the GameCube title or sequel to Paul Gale of Darkness.
You said a Paul Gale of Darkness?
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever played Paul Gale of Darkness, but it was a Pokemon game released on GameCube, and it was called
Paul Gale of Darkness.
Yeah, Pokemon XD. I'm not even joking. Paul Gale of Darkness, like
Pokemon X Pale World.
But okay, so on
Warriors,
on the subject of the Metroid thing, do you think it's possible? Because I agree with you, Paul. Nintendo doesn't make a bad game. I think it's possible they are building 2 versions of the Metroid 4 from the ground up. 1 to run on Switch, 1 to run on Switch 2.
Oh, that's a good one.
And so, because maybe that's why they have basically stayed quiet and just kind of pushing the development a little further, because in order to make a game for a console that runs well on that console, you have to build it from the ground up with that console in mind. And so it's not like they're building the biggest Metroid game and then adjusting it to work on Switch, but they're building it from the ground up to work on Switch, and then they're building it from the ground up to work on Switch too.
There have been a couple of times where Nintendo development went a little bit longer than normal, and that was with Twilight Princess and with Breath of the Wild. And that's because they made it for the base platform. Midway through, they shifted gears towards a new platform to have the precedence while continuing this dual port. And that's why you had Wii being this flipped version, and they had to do more than just flipping it. They had to make the motion controls right. They had to make the screen right. They had to make the lack of having a 3D rotating camera, because there was no C-stick, for the Wii version, right, for Twilight Princess. And then release GameCube. And for Breath of the Wild, they had to make it. It wasn't just a one-to-one, let's just port it on this next NX Switch, which would become NX would become Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
They prioritized the development of Nintendo Switch, and the Wii U version was built in tandem. But now it's not having this, portable device that's connected from here. Now it's all encompassing in this. And how do we make it when it's docked? And there's so much more. So I see a similar thing possibly happening, that this could be that other thing of, why is it taking so long? Look at Twilight Princess and look at Breath of the Wild. And one of the reasons why it took so long is, it was a big, ambitious title for those respective eras, but also gears shifted partway through into realizing the scope is so big that it's going to come out so late that we might as well also begin plans to make it work and optimize it for the next system. And I
have a question.
Wii was only a little bit more powerful than GameCube, so it also wasn't drastically different type of development. Nintendo Switch is more strong than Wii U than Wii was to GameCube, but Nintendo Switch 2, from what we're hearing, rumors and stuff, is the most drastic leap from its predecessor, giving that much more reason to why it's taking that much more time, because you have all of the normal shifts midway through to begin planning for a new successor, new system to co-develop simultaneously, but also that power gap to truly maximize what it is. So the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm getting my thoughts out there and having this discussion, the more I'm getting more and more confident that it's a dual release. It's a big, ambitious title, and I think it could be shown off this year and come out this year. That is the hope.
I have a question for you, Paul. Well, really for all of you guys. So my thought process also, I have plenty of thought processes on this. The other thing is, I'm wondering, is it possible that maybe they don't have a due date, like similar to Wonder? I know Retro Studios kind of, I know. Okay, I know. But is it possible that Nintendo said, okay, we've restarted production and we'll check on you in a few years, and just get it to us when it's done, And I'm wondering if something like that is happening, because if that could be a really big possibility. And now that I know that they have the specs for the next hardware, they're probably even saying, oh, we can even do bigger things. And so maybe they're just making it bigger and as big as the vision is, whatever the vision is. What do y'all think about that?
I think that they are. I think Metroid Prime 4 is according to the first rumors we've heard, right? That I think somebody saw behind the scenes. They saw the landscape. They saw how far it is. They saw how big the map is and everything. They have open areas rather than just going through hallways and turning into a ball and going to, there's a different scope of a game. I think that because of that, I think they're dedicating enough time to the game so that it runs well and it meets Nintendo's, their standard for a game. And if they're taking this long, say, we're taking so long already. We might as well give them a good game. Imagine if all this time runs by and then we get another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet with all the glitches and all that stuff happening. That is not gonna go well for Nintendo fans. Not today's Nintendo fans, right? So I'm guessing, they are dedicating enough time to this game for it to run well. Maybe over time they come up with better ideas, bigger worlds, bigger things. Because if Nintendo did, I hope they did. I hope Nintendo told them, hey, Mario Wonder this, and just take your time. When it's done. Because if that's the case, then hey, I think that's how masterpieces are done. I think that's how great games come out, when they have enough time cooking in the oven, making sure it's not too raw, Yeah, so I agree. That'll be a good thing, actually. I would wait for a good game,
Yeah, and there's more backing behind that too, because one thing that people forget that this isn't even like a fan opinion, this is an objective reality, is Nintendo is the best studio at optimization. Nintendo has always cared about optimizing and having small file sizes that fit on these cartridges with minimal downloads. And we know that so many studios, when the Switch first came out and they saw it was just a success and they wanted to port their games, they wanted to port Doom and they wanted to port everything, they had to shrink their games from 150 gigabyte games to 25 gigabytes. Like, because the advent of digital media and being able to download patches and whatnot and having these hard drives to store our games on allowed developers to spend their time elsewhere instead of having to make it fit on a disc or fit on a cart or whatever. They said, we're just going to make the game whatever size. If it doesn't fit on the disc, we'll download the rest. And so, which from a developer standpoint, that can be smart because now they're able to allocate their time, which is money, somewhere else. But then Nintendo said, no, we have these little carts that store, like, was it 32 gigabytes or whatever on the cart? And so if you want to come to our system, you're going to have to be optimized. And so you look at the size of Nintendo games, and for what they do, you look at the size of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and I mean the actual file size, and it's minuscule. If Tears of the Kingdom came out on any other system, that's a 200 gigabyte game, and not just because of better graphics, like with the same level graphics, that's an absolutely massive game. But Nintendo has always cared about optimization. And so I could see a huge part of why it's taking so long is because they're making because they are pushing the boundaries for a new system while at the same time then further optimizing that to be compatible with Switch hardware with as minimal of a loss as possible, since it's their game. They want it to look good.
It makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Anybody else have anything to say on the topic before we go ahead into the Q&A portion of the podcast?
I just want to know what's going on, Nintendo. I know Nintendo's gonna Nintendo, but I'm so extra curious. I wish I could be a fly on the wall. At Nintendo headquarters.
We all want to know what's going on, but the one thing we all have in common that we know that this is the best time to be a Nintendo fan. We are living in one of the most exciting times.
It's been a good time since 2017.
Yeah, and I mean it in the way that Nintendo is cooking in different areas of entertainment for us, right? To keep us kind of thinking about them. We have the theme park, we have the movies, we have the Legend of Zelda live action movie. I still can't believe that's an actual thing, an official thing that's still scared. Being made. I'm more. I am scared.
Hold my hand.
Excited, and I'm more excited. But it's happening. It's actually happening. We're gonna be covering the Legend of Zelda movie on the channel, on the podcast one day. We're gonna be talking about the actors they chose, and then one day we'll be doing the podcast review for the actual movie. That's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be an amazing kind of podcast. It is happening. So it's super exciting to be a Nintendo fan. And
they're going to have a premiere in California. They're going to have at least one of the premieres in California. We're just all going to go stay at Paul's house, and we're going to go to the premiere. Well, I'm going to go stay at Paul's house and go to the premiere. I hope you guys come.
And with that, who wants to read the first question?
Oh, sorry, y'all.
You're right. You're okay.
Blue Moon is asking a question. She says, I don't know if this is for all of us, but she specifically added Mike and said, what are your thoughts on Luigi's Mansion 2 HD being $60? I have my thoughts. What are yours?
I don't think it's worth the money for $60 game for a port. I think that that's the $49 tier. Like I know that they talked about tiers a while back. Tears of the Kingdom, that's a $70 tier. A Mario game, 3D Mario game. Depending on how big it is, that's in the $59. Almost every Mario is in the $59 tier, right? Except for the lower, I'll say like smaller games like the one we just got with Mario versus Donkey Kong, right? But Luigi's a secondary character. The game is a port and it's only HD version. It's not a full remake. So with that, it should not be. The charge should not be as a new game. It should be in a lower tier and the $49 tier, right? There's a 39, 49, 59, and 70. I think that this one belongs in the $49 tier just because it's in the Mario still franchise. Anybody have thoughts?
I do. I think we always forget how expensive making video games is now. And we also, too, you look back at the price of original NES games and you take into account inflation, and video games are cheaper than they ever have been. Even at $70, video games are cheaper than they ever have been. Video games keeping up with inflation should be like $130, $140, $150 a game. And those original games that were launching for $44, $50 back for the original NES, some of them had dev teams of like 20 people, where now there is no such thing as a dev team of 20 people for at least a giant studio. Mm-hmm. And so it costs money to port these games. And even, I guess my point is a $60 game now is still the equivalent of a $15, $20 game in the 90s. And those didn't even really exist until they were used on the market for a long time. Mm-hmm. And so all these game studios keep closing. We keep talking about the unrealistic hours that these people have to work. And the thing, and all these people getting laid off and X, Y, and Z. If we want our games for $60, then that's part of the price we have to expect. If we want our games for $60 or less, then people are going to get laid off. People are going to do this. The studios aren't going to be able to keep up. And so I'm not pro corporation all the time, but I want people to get paid to work on these games. And so if I want them to get paid to work on these games, I won't buy it for $60. Like, that's too much for me. I'm going to buy it secondhand, but I still think that is a good deal. My metric for a game in general is how many hours you're going to put into it. $1 per hour of entertainment. If I'm going to play it for more than 10 hours, okay, it's a $10 game for me then. If I'm going to play it more than 20 hours, I'll spend $20 on it. I'm not going to play Luigi's Mansion 2 for 60 hours. So that's not for me, but
And you made a point there that Luigi's Mansion 2 is not for everyone. It's for a small minority of people who are actually already into the franchise. And so, you made another point with inflation. Everything's crazy, but we also have to think about inflation when it comes to the income, people's income. Mm-hmm. That hasn't gone up. Everything else has gone up. That is just very slowly. Orange County Public School, where my wife is a teacher with special needs, they are now getting a 9% raise to catch up with inflation. But since when? How long have we been? They have been underpaid to and with gas prices at it actually got to $5 to $6 to $7 here in Florida, which is a big thing, right? But I agree. Anybody want to chip in?
Yeah. I'm just typing that so I have something.
Yeah.
I had to verify. We don't know yet just how much effort was put into Luigi's Mansion 2. Mm-hmm. It's not just, let's take the code, pop it into Nintendo Switch, and voila, there it is. Otherwise, it would look like it does in its original frame rate and its original resolution, and that's it. It had to be reworked. Now, they do have the story that translates over. They have the voice and the audio clips translate over. But what if there has been new music added in or a re-recording of that music? The old game didn't have dual analog stick control. What if the new one does and you could move around? What if there are new modes? Beyond just adding those things, crispening up the graphics, making it fit into the 16:9 dimensions of current day screens and the Nintendo Switch itself, making it work in portable mode and in docked mode to optimize between 720p and potentially 1080p. You want it to look better? What if the game ends up looking good? Because don't forget, we haven't seen it in a while, and it looked better. Maybe not quite Luigi's Mansion 3 good, but I don't think anybody would argue that Luigi's Mansion 3 wasn't worth $60. That was a fantastic game. I mean, maybe unless if you just don't like that kind of game, Luigi's Mansion 3 was really good, and it had good multiplayer, and the game looked stunning. So what if the effort was actually put in that, okay, we're redoing all these polygon models, tons of new lighting, tons of new shadows. Like Zach said, it was a $40 game, but when it came out, price adjusted, it cost more then than it did now. I think there's this negative stigmatism behind old games coming out now being unjustified in the price because they're older, despite how much work had to come out. You know, you could buy a King Kong from 2005, Peter Jackson's King Kong, and you could have purchased it in 2005 for $20. If you're trying to buy it nowadays, it's still $20. So you don't really complain about the movie costing $20 to own it. It's not, oh, that's a movie from 19 years ago. I should only be paying 15, or I should only be paying 10. No, to buy the movie, it is it. However, with there being so many options and industry being so plentiful, where we get used to like this renting philosophy from Netflix and different types of streaming services, that's where it kind of devalues the pure cost of games and how much they, should be worth, because a lot of money goes into it and the development times are a lot. So I don't think it's not going to be worth owning, but the perception is just sour because it shouldn't cost this much because it is an older title.
We lost Paul.
Oh my God!
Oh, Nintendo Ninjas.
See, it's because that was. Oh, he's back.
Not taking into consideration.
We lost you for a minute.
You froze for about, I would say, 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
Not taking into consideration how much effort was put in and all of the kind of stuff. I do think that it is a little high though, because even I'm saying a 3DS game being brought over to nowadays, maybe $50 sounds better, sounds more appealing, but I also don't know how much was put into it just yet. We'll see soon. If the next time they show it off, it's like, it's got this reworked, boom, 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 boom. Also, 3DS sold fewer than 80 million systems. Nintendo Switch is at 140. For many people, this is going to be a brand new Luigi's Mansion. Call it Luigi's Mansion 4, no one's going to complain that it's $60.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's only when you think a little bit too much and like, only 7 million people bought the Dark Moon. And I say only because Luigi's Mansion 3 was purchased by 14 million. It doubled it. So there is this good chance that it sells more. Do you rebuy it? That's kind of up to you. But for the first time player, if you haven't played it, which is going to be a lot because it only sold 7 million, I think it's going to be a worthwhile purchase for most if it's your first time, because it's got that Nintendo quality and it's a great game. Dark Moon's a lot of fun. It's not going to feel like a low budget game. No, I don't. We'll see.
Sam West brought up a good point in the chat. They said they could add Guigi functionality too.
Yeah,
like we don't know what features are coming.
That's another thing. Exactly. Yeah.
We had another question in the chat.
Before we proceed, anybody else on this? So, anybody else on this topic, or sorry, we can move on. Good. Okay.
There was another. There was a question a little bit earlier.
Let's see here.
And I can't highlight nothing because I don't know how things work.
Come on, Joycey.
I know, hon. But you didn't give me. You thought you gave me access, but you didn't.
Says,
but anyway, we're here with Christopher. We'll start with his question, then I'll go back and read the last one.
Is it the one from Crazy Scott?
No, it was from Chris Lancer.
Okay. If they can go ahead and ask it again, so that it's at the bottom, that's where we can get to it faster.
I have it here.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So, anybody? Why would Nintendo be more transparent? When it comes to transparency, that's a really to kind of we're subject to because every company has their secrets and they have to keep them for a certain period of time so that nobody else steals their ideas or their innovations like that. For example, there's another iPhone cooking, but we won't hear about it until it's time. Just so that they can protect their properties or IPs or whatever. That goes with every company. When it comes to transparency, I believe that they should be more transparent on games that they've already announced, in which they're taking a little longer to develop. For example, Metro Prime 4. That could be a game that can say, "Hey, Metro Prime 4, it's still in development. We are working on it." In any Nintendo Direct, they could have said it in the past couple of years. They could have just given us, "Hey, Metro Prime 4 is still in development. We are working on it," just like they did with Tears of the Kingdom when they delayed it, right? Something like that. And I believe in those cases where the game has already been announced, it's a public thing, then that would be nice to have some kind of transparency to see where they are at in their development timeline. That way people can stop guessing. Oh, we're almost done. Or if it's announced, oh, the game has gone gold, right? Kind of let us know it's gone gold, right? Like
I wish they would announce that more.
Yeah,
on all their games.
Because I know other companies do it too. We're working on this. The game has gone gold, and that makes people excited, right? We don't know when it's coming to be announced, but we know the game is done. They keep things hidden for financial reasons and to make sure to protect those things. But I do believe they should be more transparent in other areas. So
no shade at all.
Mm-hmm.
But if we don't have Nintendo, where's everybody going to get their ideas from?
That's true. Oh, that's true.
No shade, because please play whatever you like, whatever your interests are. Try new things, but Nintendo low-key was kind of the first. Yeah, okay, moving on.
True. Joyce, you want to go for that question?
Yes. And we're sorry, Christopher. We literally all just got off work and we're actually really excited to talk about games. So he said, "Hello, Mike Odyssey. When do you guys and gal me think the next Zelda game will come out? I have theories, but I want to hear what you guys think."
4 years. That's my time. My time for 4 years. I know we're gonna get games between that, remakes.
Yeah, I was gonna say fully original like Zelda game.
Yeah, the next big.
He means original,
game,
I think.
Yeah. The next big Zelda game. I want to say 4 years. I'll say right in the middle of the Switch 2 lifespan.
I have been on the Zelda, and I know Zelda fans hate it when I say this, but here's my honest opinion. I'm on train Zelda 2030. And I know, y'all, that's a long time from now. I know. Does it usually take Nintendo that long to make that kind of game? Based off of all the goodness that we just got. We just got 2 huge Zelda games back to back. I think that the next one's going to be even more ambitious because they're going to have, allegedly, based off rumors, allegedly we're having a huge power leap. I think the way they milked every little piece of power out of the Switch to make Tears of the Kingdom work as well as it does, imagine what they can do with even more power.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to make the game big and long just to be big and long. Sorry about that. But they're going to make it there's going to be a reason for it. And I could see them doing something even more ambitious. It's still going to be Link. It's still going to be our fantasy with the sword and the magical and all that other good stuff. But I in fact, I don't even personally, and I even said this before, another YouTuber said it. I don't know if it's even going to take place in Hyrule. We could be going on a whole other adventure. We could be going back in time. We could be going forwards in time. It could be a whole other thing.
Hyrule is the rebuild thing, I guess.
And here's the other thing. Link has had adventures in other places before as well. So, and then the other thing I'm thinking is, I think the Zelda movie is going to come out first. what better way to launch a brand new game?
After,
especially when you just got all these new fans or fans who used to play Zelda, but when they were kids or something, or when they were younger, and now they're older and they're taking, now they're like, wait a minute, I remember Zelda. Y'all know I got back into gaming because of a commercial. So I could see people at home like, I remember I used to play Zelda. They got a movie now. I'm interested. So that's what I think. I think they're going to be just even more ambitious, and we're going to see some stuff that we haven't seen before in Zelda.
Okay.
I mean, guys, we already got a motorcycle. I mean, why not? Just saying.
Hey, Paul, you wanna chip in?
Yeah. Because I've got possibly conflicting, but possibly non-conflicting thoughts. I think that the Legend of Zelda Lego, I don't know the release date, but I think that set is going to come out this year. It pairs well, but it's a little bit optimistic to think that it's going to come out alongside or close to a game. And that game would probably likely be a remake of something because it's too early to have a full-on title. But then I'm also on team 2026 for the 40th anniversary of the franchise.
Yeah.
And I would personally rather wait another 2 years until Ocarina of Time comes out if they use Ocarina of Time as a game to celebrate the 40th anniversary and have this nice year of Zelda and have Ocarina of Time be this grand, incredible remake, the way that Final Fantasy VII is going through right now, or Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 4 went through, something that ambitious. And have it be 2026, then line up well with Lego, just because of the Deku Tree and that kind of stuff this year. I would say, hey, take 2 more years with Ocarina of Time. I love that game. It's my second favorite game of all time. It only got beaten by Breath of the Wild after 2 decades of holding on to that spot. And then we have the movie. And the movie, I think, is like a 2026, 2027 film. So Zelda's looking good for the next few years because we know that things are coming. We know that a new game is coming eventually. Lego is coming eventually. That's probably the earliest of these few. We know that remakes are probably coming, or ports, such as, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, just likely, and the film. So it's good. We just don't know the order that we're going to eat in and exactly what. But I think like the next mainline Zelda game, and then that also kind of is in the back of my mind, it's later, the more ambitious Ocarina of Time remake is. It's earlier if Ocarina of Time remake is kind of a remastered vision, kind of like Metroid Prime Remastered is, whereas it's the same game with a new coat of paint, same geography, just a little bit more, visually immersive, and not this re-scrapping it, putting in the whole story, but completely doing everything from scratch, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I hope they do.
Makes sense.
Ocarina is grand, then expect a new big mainline Zelda game to come later, because that's going to take some of their assets out. If Ocarina is simple, then we could have this new Zelda game, the proper successor, follow-up to Tears of the Kingdom, even though not exact follow-up, but you know what I mean, the next mainline.
Yeah.
Earlier.
I just had oh, I'm sorry, Paul.
No, that's it. I
was just gonna say I had a fun thought
in different ways, because thinking.
I just had a fun thought, and this is just a thought. This is not a rumor or anything. This is just from the brain of Joycey. Monolith Soft remaking Ocarina of Time from the ground up, and let's just sit on that. I would like that
studio.
Yeah,
but I'm sure that
Monolith Soft likes big worlds and likes meaty games. I want that.
Also, too, one thing that could speed up the production of Zelda games would be kind of like how we have mainland side-scrolling Marios, and then we have mainland 3D Marios. Mario Wonder is obviously a mainland game, but it's not the same type of mainland game as Odyssey or 64 or Galaxy or Sunshine. And so I could see Nintendo dabbling with that re-release and remake. Technically, it's a remake, right, of Link's Awakening. I could see Zelda games starting to drop in cycles, where we have the 2.5D style games, and then we have the big open world style games. And so that would definitely having a Zelda game come out akin to Link's Awakening in that style,
I would love
would be a much quicker production.
Yeah. I Link to the Past, or a completely original game, like just top-down original.
Yeah, that's what I mean. A top-down original Zelda game before the next open world Zelda game. I could see them starting to stagger releases like Mario, where it's top-down, big open world, top-down, big open world.
Yeah. All right. So this question here, I can answer this really fast. Doesn't the patent protect a properties? Well, when in regards to games, there are more types of protection needed other than a patent. So a patent protects new inventions, processes, and scientific creations, right? And then trademarks protect brands, logos, slogans, and then of course copyrights protect original work and authorship. So that we need a combination of all three of them in order to protect the game, because the game has a brand. The Legend of Zelda is the brand. A game has a story. That's a written work. That's a copyright thing. And then a patent describes the mechanics, how you play the game, what's involved. Like we discovered that Tears of the Kingdom patent before Tears of the Kingdom came back. Like Link coming down, shooting the arrow, how he did it, and how what takes place there. That's a mechanic. So that is covered by a patent. So to protect the game, it's a combination of all three that is needed to protect the entirety of a game. So patent protects a mechanic, like an invention, creation, a process. So it does protect, but it doesn't protect properties. It just protects a process, a mechanic, or an invention. Which is kind of all, it's a boring topic, but it's good to know, right?
Good to understand the differences.
The gears that make all of this happen.
Yeah. I only know this because I've done all three recently. I've had to trademark something for Indie Mania. I had to file a trademark. I had to file a patent because there's a process that I want to do things in order to be different from the rest. And then copyright is basically the slogans and stuff like that we're going to be using for the show. There's a lot of things going behind the scenes just to protect the entire work, right? All right, new question. Honestly, I cannot be too disappointed with the partner direct. The interesting thing is Game Freak barely featured. So first main event we'll likely get is Pokemon Day for the first time since 2016. Is that a game? Is that a question, or is that a statement?
The interesting thing is Game Freak barely featured. So the first main event we'll likely get is Pokemon Day for the first time since 2016. And I think he means that, like, is that right? Kind of thing. I am not a Pokemon expert.
Then we have Pokemon Day every year, though, right?
Yes. Now that I do know. And they have a big Pokemon Presents.
They do on the 27th. Is that right?
I think it's
next month. Next week. Tuesday.
It's next week. Oh, okay.
Next week, Tuesday, yeah, on the 27th, yeah. February 27th, which is also Pokemon Day. They have the presents on that day as well. So it's gonna be something good, something cool. Does anybody else want to chime in? Yeah, the partner showcase was awesome. The partner showcase was awesome. And Pokemon Day is on the 27th. They're having Pokemon presents on that day as well next week.
Will you be live, Mike, at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern?
I shall be live. Right. I was live at 8 this time here, which is like what? You guys were 6 o'clock in the morning? It was 5 o'clock a.m.
Yeah, I woke up at 5:55 and then I went on.
It was 8 for me, and I was already at work.
And I'll put a link. I'll put a link in the chat in case anybody wakes up early. They want to join the live stream. You guys can just click and join. All right. Let's see here.
Dude, chat is popping.
Seriously.
Where is that?
Like I keep like trying to like keep up, and every time I look back, there's just like more. I love it.
All right. So, how big do you think the storage will be on the next Nintendo Switch? All right. So, I think that this is what I want, and then there's the reality. I think the Nintendo Switch should be starting at 256 when it comes to gigabytes of storage, right? Main base. Of course, they have the external storage that you add to it, but I feel like they're gonna start at 64 gigabytes. You know, they don't know Nintendo. They'll probably go as 64 gigabytes to keep the prices low on the system, and then have us rely on external drives. Anybody else want to tip in? What do you guys think?
I could personally almost care less because I'm going to buy the fattest micro SD XC card, and that's going to be it. That's the least concerning thing for me.
Yeah.
Give me more RAM in the system, more power, more G-flops, better CPU, better GPU. Don't include any storage in it. I know that sounds crazy. Don't include any.
But storage matters. Storage matters.
$80 and get a 2 terabyte card on Black Friday.
Yeah.
And that's going to do it. So whatever. But honestly, I think it's going to be like 128 gigs. And I just picked that because I think they're going to want to have a little bit better in every category. So if there's ever this list that a GameStop or Walmart or Best Buy or someone makes of features, like Nintendo Switch plays Nintendo Switch games. Nintendo Switch plays Nintendo Switch games and Nintendo Switch 2 games. So they have like the X red and then the check mark green.
Yeah.
You know, base RAM, OLED 64. You don't want the new one to be there, or you only want it more. So that's why I picked 128.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's
good.
I
don't care.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna buy an SD card regardless. That thing's gonna get filled up so fast.
Yeah,
Even though I'm mostly a physical gamer, I still have to have a fat SD card because not all games are physical. I like to buy digital things when they come out, like Hades. And there are a couple of digital games or games that make a little bit more sense for me to have digitally, even if they are available physically, like Animal Crossing. I don't want to take that cartridge in and out every single day. I wanted that game on my system always because it was a play it a little bit every day kind of game.
Yeah.
While also playing my Breath of the Wild that I take in and out while I'm playing this one. And just, that's me though.
Yeah. Anybody else? Hey, a number, just any number? Okay, I want to add
256.
256, yeah, that's good. I believe I can say 128, 256. Yeah, that's kind of a good running number. But storage matters a little bit in regards to how fast it reads the game. Loading times at the beginning of the game, how it loads, because there's the SSD, right? Which by the way, it's already old. Can you believe that? SSD is already old. I'm like, wait a minute, I still have hard drives around here. You know, hard drives with the big disk, it goes around like this. And so there's hard drive, the disk that spins. There's SSD, the solid state that's just like it reads, and then now there's M.2, which by the way, I have it right here. That's what I use for my Mac now to edit and stuff because it's just instant. It's literally instant. I can copy 2 gigabytes of a movie from one to another, and it's instant, like literally instant. So when it comes to storage, I do hope Nintendo does upgrade their storage to the more updated current storage that the Xbox has and the PS5 has, because that storage it's just gonna make the experience better for people. But it might cost a little more if they do, but I agree. Storage is not as important as CPU and GPU, but it's good to know. All right, let's see here. Any more questions?
I thought I saw another one.
See, let me go ahead and go with that one. Yeah, 256. True. All right.
I saw another one.
Sam.
Oh wait, there's one from Flatwood. Flatwood's Boy 15.
Flatwood. Okay.
They were just asking if I could do this, and so yeah, I can. No.
That's awesome. Do it again.
But if you want to make bigger games like the Rumor 3D Mario game, they might need to make the storage bigger. Yeah, I agree. I was just exaggerating when I said 64 gigabytes, just to kind of say, yeah, Nintendo might just 64 gigabytes.
But the most important question: does it make waffles?
That is the most important question.
It really is. That if it doesn't make waffles, I think we should boycott.
Some waffles.
I mean, I know you can get a system that makes fried chicken when KFC dropped their own PC. Or was it an Xbox hybrid, I think? I forget.
I think it was no, I thought KFC like joked around with that themselves. Like they made like their own console that smelled
it was a PC. It was a PC and it was shaped like their chicken bucket, and it actually had a deep fryer built in.
And I want to start on this last question here for the podcast, because it's a question that needs to be explained so that it's kind of better understood. When you say PlayStation as PS4, remember the PS4 is right now almost 11 years old. Okay, 10 years old, almost from the moment it started. We're not talking about the PS4 Pro. We're talking about the PS4, and so 10 years from now, we were still running on hard drives. Same going back to just to storage. We were still running on discs like that, right? So let me go ahead and get it really fast here. Okay, here. All right, so hard drives, right? We're not doing that anymore. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and highlight this real quick here. So just move that. Remove. Okay, hide. Stop sharing.
Hi, Link.
Hi, Link. Link was there. Where am I? Where was it? Okay. I have to open this quick.
I'm starting to realize how tired I am.
Yeah, we're at the end. We're at the end.
Oh no, you guys are we're fine. I'm really excited to talk about this.
All right, so here you see here this picture right here. Let me see if I can highlight it better. This picture has a hard drive versus the SSD card, whatever. See, we used to run on this. When PS4 came out, this was the hard drive that it had, right? This was where the game was being kept, the storage, right? And so this disc spins in a specific speed, right? When we upgraded to this went out the door. And so the speeds for writing and reading went up, I would say 20, almost 100 times compared to this, right? Now, as you can see right here, we're no longer in this anymore. We are in this part right here, this M.2 drive, which is, I would say 10 to 20 to 50 more times faster than this, okay? And this will actually improve the performance of a game, right? The reading and the writing speeds. And so Nintendo will most likely use an M.2 drive rather than a hard drive that the PS4 used. Now think about the CPU and the GPU from the PS4. All right, they're not going to be using the same CPU and the GPU from the PlayStation 4 from 10 years ago. They're going to be using new ones, a new custom chip made by NVIDIA. Okay, that not only supports 4K resolution in a 4K upscaling, but DLSS 2.3.2, right? That means it'll upscale to 4K right there. That's a M.2, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's an M.2 drive. And not only that, but we have AI upscaling. Okay. So even if Nintendo takes a processor and that is as powerful, technically, when it comes to power, not technology, as a PS4, when you add the DLSS 3.2, and then you add this new hard drive, this M.2 drive on top of that, what Nintendo is technically doing is taking a shortcut to where almost PS5 is. I would say Xbox Series S, right? Maybe a little higher, but taking a different route to get there. Rather than just using bulky hardware That's why the PS5 is so huge. That's why the Xbox looks like a PC tower, because it's all hardware, right? They're not using they might be using AI now in their software now, but Nintendo's taking a different route to get there than what all of these people are. Plus, was PlayStation 4 at that time a portable system, right? You have to take that into So imagine having PlayStation 4 games on handheld. And then when you think about PlayStation 4, I need to show you a trailer for a PlayStation 4 game. Okay. So let's say Spider-Man. Okay, Spider-Man. How you say Spider-Man? Spider-Man. PS4 trailer. All right.
That is not reflective of what is in the game.
So let me see if I can stop sharing here. And then share here. External camera thing. All right, now take a look at that. That's PS4 graphics.
I have a dub of this trailer with redone sound design. I'm voicing Spider-Man.
Ooh.
Cool.
So, take that all into account with the new technology that we have now. All right. That if the Switch, a portable hybrid device with an 8-inch screen, releases a system that's as powerful, I would say powerful when it comes to the CPU and GPU. But then again, you add you add everything that we have now today. It's gonna be it's like a monster hybrid console that Nintendo's actually building, right? What was almost impossible for them to build back then. Yeah, now we have all these other mobile consoles coming out and trying to make it, but some of them overheat. They're still working on the heating system. I know the Steam Deck has a horrible heating problem. I owned it for a while, and it just heat up like crazy. Only playing games like Yooka-Laylee. You know what I mean? So it's a different beast when it comes to saying will it be as powerful as a PS4? I would say it will be like, in my opinion, it'll be just like a Xbox Series S. Still powerful enough to play current gen games, but it's taking a different route there. It's taking a different route to get there rather than just beefy hardware, because it has to be portable. You have to keep it portable, and then the cooling and all that stuff. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Anybody want to pitch in?
Oh yeah, I think Nutweed had a nice breakdown in the chat of the teraflops that these systems are pushing.
Yeah,
and so
it says my M.2 will make waffles. Yeah, so this is the most important thing here. Will your M.2 make waffles? It should make waffles. And with that, guys, we are at the end of the podcast. We thank you so much for being here. You guys have been so awesome. We had a good chat today, right?
Really great chat.
And Joycey and Paul Gale Network and Zach Hendricks. We can start with Joycey. Joycey, what can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at DJ Joycey. I am just a crazy old lady who loves Zelda and video games. Right, that's right. There's Zelda, and then there's all the other.
And of course, you can also find Joycey here at the Name Topic Podcast every Friday night live. And Paul Gale, what can we find you?
On Twitter /X and also YouTube, I am at Paul Gale Network. On YouTube recently, if you check out my channel, I have a little bit of a 1-year recap of Super Nintendo World and a grand opening look at the Power Up Cafe, which is on the first floor of Universal Studios. And on Twitter, X, whatever. Eventually, I'll start calling it just X because eventually it'll be long enough of a time that you've seen the logo more and more, and then it's like, dude, it's been 7 years. Why are you still calling it blank? But for now, it's in that transitionary state.
Yeah.
It'll probably switch.
Yeah.
I'll be calling it Twitter 20 years from now.
Eventually, there'll be a whole generation that grows up only having ever seen X, and Twitter for them will be called history. So that's too foreign. And I'm
gonna be the old lady that's still calling it Twitter.
on you know what Twitter X. I'm putting up video game sales charts and stuff like that, and a lot of good conversations and
Nice. Go check out Paul. Check out that last Nintendo Super Nintendo video. I'm gonna go check it out. I might cover it tomorrow on the news. So let's go ahead over to the champ, Zach. What's up, Jack?
What up?
Where can we find you?
I know. I was like, I should just say hi. You can find me, as it says here. Cameras are confusing. Here on Twitter /X at YoungCalfZach. On YouTube, you've probably seen I've been commenting a little bit on the video at Zach Hendricks Media, which will also come up if you search Zach Hendricks voiceovers, because that's my URL. And then same with TikTok and Instagram are both Zach Hendricks voiceovers.
Awesome. And well, you can find me here at the Nintendo Podcast every Friday live, just like you can find this amazing cast we have here every Friday night live here, right? The best part of your weekend is the Nintendo Podcast. Make t-shirts like that, right? T-shirts. Best part of the weekend. The best part of your weekend, the topic podcast in your cup.
By the way, I don't want to throw this in, but this is a good one. 10,000 Noodles says he calls it Twix.
Oh, I do love Twix.
I like that.
Personally, I prefer left Twix over right Twix.
So shout out to 10,000.
Oh no! Wait, hold on. Okay, now we gotta have a debate because right Twix is so much better.
How?
That's pretty clever.
Whenever I buy Twix candy, I only eat the right one. What is wrong with you?
What if you
Zach, go sit in the corner?
What if you open it on the wrong side?
There's no, because you just open it and there's one on the right.
I don't know.
We're joking, by the way.
I know.
We're joking.
I almost fell for it. I'm like, what? Yeah. Okay. So Monday to Friday news here at the Nintendo Podcast at the Odyssey. I'm doing a brand new show. I'm getting rid of Odyssey News and doing a brand new show. Still news based, but completely different. And so, that's what's going on. Thank you guys so much for watching. You have been great, and we have Pokemon Presents happening in just a couple of days. We'll be live. I'll leave the link in the podcast chat just in case anybody wants to join. But I'll be here live at 9 a.m. or actually 8:30 a.m. just to kick off the podcast. I mean the live stream for the Pokemon Presents, and hopefully we'll see Gen 10, Gen 11, Gen 12, Gen 13, and Gen 14. All right, my friends, that is it. What was that?
I just said all of them.
That is going to do it for the entire podcast. That's not the one. That wasn't the one either. This one. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. But before, we got 2 words for you. Number 1. Never give up.
Don't do that. We need you.
And
number 2.
Journey on.
Journey on.
All right.
Bye.
Taking Paul home to Japan. Good night, guys.
Bye. Don't forget Jazz Hands. We'll not watch it again. Jazz Hands. Oh no! Wait! Zach didn't do it.
I did early. I got the order wrong. I'm still adjusting. See, last time I was doing jazz hands this whole time. Way too soon.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. Take care.
Good night, guys.
Later. Balloons. The balloons are coming.
Wonder why mine doesn't do that.
I know. I want balloons.
Balloons.
Good night, guys.